Hello learners, I am Dr. Manish Kumar Bhardwaj from School of Engineering and Technology of IGNOU. Today I will discuss with you the clean and safe drinking water. We all know the importance of water. Actually, as you know, after oxygen, it is the second most important element for existence of any form of life. We use water for many purposes, for drinking, for agriculture purpose, for industry, and so many. But unfortunately, the fact is that this commodity is not equally accessible to all. There is a lot of unequal access of water throughout the world. If we look at this graphics, then in this map you see that this region, which is shown in dark blue, basically this is a region where lot of people are without access to an improved water source. Means here large number of population is devoid of a improved water source or quality water source, you can say. And unfortunately, in this map, you see that India is also there. So here also a large population in our country is devoid of having access to quality water source basically. Though this data belongs to 2015, but still there is not much change. The situation is like that only. So this is the problem basically. Now if we see numerically, then we can say that out of 6, 1 person does not have clear access to safe and clean drinking water. Out of 3 persons, 1 person does not have access to proper sanitation services. What is the importance of these two facts basically is that because of these two things, lack of quality water and lack of proper sanitation services, people are prone to many diseases. And because of that, there are lot of casualties throughout the world, not only in our country, throughout the world basically. So because of this fact, these two things becomes important. Access to quality water and access to the proper sanitation services. Second thing is that though the 70% of the earth is covered by water, but you know that most of it is salty water. We cannot use it. That is the problem. 3% of the water which can be used is in the form of ice, which is lying in Greenland or Antarctic polar regions basically. Only 1% of the total water lies in lakes, ponds, rivers and underground aquifers, which can be used. So this is the situation, that how much water is there, though the 70% of this planet is covered with water, but only 1% is accessible for use basically. So this gives an importance on that there is a scarcity of water basically. And along with that scarcity of water, there is another problem is that unequal distribution of water, unequal access of the water basically. So that way this problem becomes important. How to supply water to cities, especially when we are going for 100 smart cities in the country, and by the time we will be adding more. One of the important aspect is access to clean and safe drinking water in the smart city. Then how to fulfill this promise basically? That is the big challenge. What is the consumption pattern basically? If you look at that consumption pattern of water, in developing countries, 87% of the total water consumed is used for agricultural purposes, then 8% for industrial activities, only 5% is used for household activities. If you look at the developed countries, here the case is somewhat different. Here 59% of water is used for agriculture purposes, then 30% for industrial activities, and 11% is used for household activities. So this is the water consumption pattern. Then what is the need for clean and safe water? As I told you that the safe drinking water and the proper sanitation services, these two decide whether the population is prone to any disease or not. As per the World Health Organization estimates, 80% of diseases are waterborne, and 3.1% of the total deaths that occur, 3.1% are due to the lack of access to quality water and proper sanitation. So this is the importance of this topic. This is the fact that proper, clean and safe drinking water is a necessity, and along with that proper sanitation services should be there so that population can live a healthy life. Now, clean and drinking water for smart cities. What is the situation? What is expected? What is required basically? Cities around the world are expected to deliver clean, pressurized and reliable water to their residents' tap on a daily basis. With increasing urbanization and population growth leading to rising cost and water scarcity, cities are struggling to meet consumer demands. This is the fact basically. Then, as per the estimates, by 2050, 75% of the world population will live in cities. And these cities will face increasing water stress with demand expected to outstrip or outspart the supply by 40% by 2030 only, which is not very far basically. Means after 6-7 years, there will be a huge gap of demand and supply. That may be around 40% of the magnitude basically. So this is the problem. Now, when we talk about the smart cities, so what these smart cities promise, what are the systems in these smart cities, how they will work basically. So let us understand this. A smart city links multiple systems within a network to share data across platforms in order to enhance safety and security and improve the efficiency of municipal services like water supply. There are other municipal services also like electric supply, road and transport, so many things. One of the important thing is the water supply that we are focusing now. Within a smart city, a smart water network allows cities to better anticipate and react to different types of water network issues, from detecting leaks, theft and water quality, etc. By monitoring real-time information, city operators can stay informed about what is going on in the field at all times and respond quickly and appropriately when a problem arises. So this is the purpose basically for developing of the smart water network. Now, how it works basically? Actually, a model is proposed which is 5-layer architecture model. Means it is architecture of this model is such that it is having the 5 layers. In first layer, what is there? First layer is the physical layer, which comprises the necessary components for delivering water. For example, pipes, pumps, valves, pressure reducing valves, reservoirs, and other such delivery endpoints. Then second layer is the sensing and control layer. It contains equipment and sensors that measure parameters. What are these parameters? For example, flow, pressure, water quality, reservoir level, water temperature, and acoustic informations, etc. Now, when these sensors get these data, capture the data, then what happens? It goes to third layer. The data is then transmitted and stored through the collection and communication layer, which includes fixed cable networks, radio, cellular, and Wi-Fi, etc. So through these systems, it communicates to the another layer then. Then comes the fourth layer. What is this fourth layer? The fourth layer is data management and display. In this data management and display, this aggregates data from the below three layers to create an interface with human operators, such as SCADA. What is SCADA? Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition System. GIS, Geographical Information System. Then network visualization tools. Then water balance applications. All these things are there in this fourth layer. Then the fifth layer or the final layer, which is the data fusion and analysis. So it is clear from its name, data is then analyzed basically here, and necessary information or controls are given. Here, more sophisticated processing of raw data occurs. This may include, for example, real-time data analytics, hydraulic modeling, network infrastructure monitoring, automatic pressure and energy optimization systems. Such things are there in this final layer. So that way, this 5-layer model works for a smart water network, basically, in a smart city. Now, after understanding this, that how a smart network works in a city, a smart city, then we come to the water quality. What should be the quality of water that should be supplied? So quality standards are given in IS 10500. IS code is there, which gives various water quality standards. In this code, there are 6 tables basically, which is giving different type of parameters, their acceptable limits, permissible limits. What is the difference between this acceptable limit and permissible limit is that acceptable limit is the limit that up to which a certain parameters are accepted. But in case there is an absence of alternate source of water, good source of water, then these limits are increased basically to the permissible limits. But in any case, these permissible limits should not be crossed. Means this is the last limit. So what are these limits? I have compiled here some of the limits basically. Though in this code there are 6 different tables giving details on different type of parameters. You can go through them. We are taking few of important parameters like pH value of water. pH value of safe drinking water is 6.5 to 8.5. Permissible limits, there is no relaxation in this case. Means the permissible limits are same as the acceptable limits. If we talk about turbidity, then turbidity number 1, up to 1 it is acceptable, but if the good source is not available of water basically, then this is permissible up to 5 also. If we talk about the total hardness as calcium carbonate, then permissible limit is 200 mg per liter, but acceptable limit, but permissible limit is up to 600 mg per liter if good quality source is not available. In case of E. coli, ideally there should not be any microorganisms present. Which microorganisms means disease causing, basically. E. coli are the disease causing microorganisms. So no trace should be there in 100 ml sample. This is acceptable limit as well as the permissible limit. If we talk about iron, the maximum limit is 0.3 milligram per liter, and there is no relaxation in case of permissible limit also. Taste and odor, it is agreeable, means that up to what limit, up to which taste a person can consume, basically. Similarly, the odor also. So these are some of the important limits or acceptable and the permissible limits given in the IS 10500 code, basically. And when we are supplying water, that water should conform to these standards. Now, what are the major issues in smart city water supply? There are various issues in the water supply for a smart city. Means when we are designing water supply scheme for a smart city, then we come across lot many issues. Some of the major issues are regulations. The situation is that the current regulations which are existing in the city, basically, in which we are going to make it as a smart city, the current regulations, generally we find that they support the conventional systems and approaches. And what happens in this case? That these regulations want that business should go as usual. There should not be any change. So they do not promote the regulations which are there at present in the time. They do not promote for any change. They are not flexible. They are very rigid. So here the situation is that we need to have more flexible regulations so that the new things, new systems can be introduced. And without introducing these new systems and new things, basically, a smart city cannot be developed. So we have to remove all hindrances that are coming in the way for a development of a smart city because of the existing regulations. We have to create new regulations. We have to change these regulations so that if flexibility comes into these regulations, so that it promotes the new systems, the new things which can be installed to make a smart water network for the development of a smart city. Second thing is uncertainties relating to climate change, and along with that, the lack of knowledge about effective climate adaptation strategies. Climate change is a very big issue. Nowadays, you see that at some places there is no rain. At some places, if it is raining, it is raining heavily. It is causing a lot of damage. Like just you have seen in the recent times, in Himachal Pradesh, there is a big havoc due to these rains. Landslides are there. Flooding is there. A lot of lives are lost. Big economic losses are there. So this is all because of the climate change. And climate change is again a very big challenge for development of a smart water network for a smart city. Because if we are planning some system, if we are planning some source where from we will take water, but because of the climate change, if that source is not getting rejuvenated or not getting the continuous supply from the nature, then our all planning will fail. So while designing a smart network, water network for a smart city, we have to keep in mind the climate change. And for that, we have to learn, we have to understand, we have to acquire the knowledge that what climate change can do, how it can affect our systems, how it can affect our sources, and so that we can accordingly be prepared for alternative systems also, alternative plans also, alternate water source also. So we have to understand this climate change system basically. And this is a big challenge that majority of our planners, engineers are not aware of this phenomenon. How this climate change will affect our nature, how our water sources will be affected. So that way we have to acquire the knowledge about the climate change so that we can plan effectively and we can create plans which sustain for a longer time, which do not fail within 2 years, 5 years time basically. Because for development of such smart network, a huge investment is required, and if it fails, if the system fails within 2 years or 5 years, this is a big loss basically. So that way we have to take this challenge. Then third is lack of common vision, awareness, and sense of urgency. Three things are there. First is common vision. Because development of a smart water network or development of a smart city is a very big task. And lot of people are involved in it. Lot of experts are involved in it basically from different areas. These people may have different vision. Though they may be experts of their particular field, but they may not be the master of everything. So here it is very important that there has to be a common vision between the different experts. If they do not converge on certain important aspect, then it is very difficult to design a smart water network in a smart city. So that is very important. Second aspect is here awareness. That all these experts should be aware of that what are the different factors which can affect our system and how can we deal with these. That awareness has to be there among these experts. Then third is urgency, which is very important thing. Though there may be a situation that all experts are having the same vision, they are aware also, but they are not having the sense of urgency. Because we have to develop the things, because it's a big task basically to develop that smart network. So we have to act quickly also. If there is some problem, then we have to understand that urgency and we have to solve that problem urgently. So this is very important. So these things has to be there. If these things are lacking in that, in the experts, then it becomes very difficult for development of a smart water network. The next aspect is lack of clear problem owner. What is the meaning of this? You know that there are many different stakeholders, public as well as private. Means public means the government and the private means that private players in that. So when we are developing some network, some smart city or a smart water network, so being a large scale activity, there are different stakeholders involved in that. So what happens? A problem arises in such situation when there are lot many stakeholders, that who is the owner, who is the problem owner. Means if some problem comes, then who will solve that problem? So that is important. So sometimes what happens, it is unclear that who is the main problem owner and responsible to invest and implement strategies towards a water smart city. Because that problem owner will invest in that scheme basically. He will be responsible for development of that scheme, and also he will coordinate all the things. If some problem comes, then he will solve the problem. So that way there should be a clarity that who is the problem owner, so that the things can be solved, problems can be solved. If some situation comes, that problem is not allowing the progress of that development of a smart water network. So that clear-cut understanding should be there. Then next problem is integrated solutions in a sectoral world. What is this meaning? Basically, development of some smart water network, it's a integrated approach has to be used basically. But the problem is that there is a sectoral world, means different sectors, that there is a company who is providing pipes, there is a company who is providing valves, there is a company who is responsible for fitting all these things, there is a company for civil works. So many things, different sectors are there. So involving or applying the integrated solutions or integrated approach between these different sectors itself, it's a big challenge basically. And if we cannot if we cannot involve an integrated approach, then the things cannot go in right direction, because everybody will do at their will. Their approach will be different. Their working style will be different. Their pace of work will be different. So that way the work cannot be completed in time basically. So that way integrated approach is needed, so that the things can be implemented effectively and in time. So these are some of the challenges with that. So if we can solve these challenges, we can develop the smart water network for a smart city. So these things should be kept in mind while designing and developing a smart water network for a smart city. So these were the few of the things which are very important, which I discussed with you. That what is the need for clean and safe water, then how the unequal access and lack of proper sanitation is affecting the world population basically. What are the quality standards for water which a clean and safe water should have, which we are supplying to the city, and what are the different challenges in the development of a smart water network. I hope you enjoyed this, and I expect that you will go through the course material that is provided to you. If there is any query or doubt, you can ask this very well. Thank you.